Good morning and welcome to the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber's 2023 annual meeting. My name is Derek Steyer. I'm the Assistant News Director and anchor and reporter for WFMJ 21 News. I'm also a friend of the Chamber, and I'm honored to be your MC today. It's all wonderful, very wonderful to see every one of you. A quick funny story. I was getting my oldest son ready for school this morning, and he saw me all dressed up in my suit and tie and everything, and he said, "Why are you so dressed up? You don't go to work till later." And I said, "Well, you know, I'm going to MC this meeting and everything." And he looked at me and he goes, "You're not going to tell any jokes, are you?" And I said, "What? I'm funny." And he goes, "All right, well, they're not going to be dad jokes, right?" And I said, "Well, how do you know when a joke is a dad joke?" And he said, "Well, when the punchline is apparent." Oh, man. All right. I'm going to tell him you guys didn't like that one. All right. The annual meeting is a time for the Chamber's board and staff to come together to celebrate the organization, and we are celebrating 30 years. This is our 30th anniversary in 2023. Let's give a round of applause. Not only celebrating this organization, but our members, partners, and our community. We're going to present annual awards to two individuals who are significantly impacting our valley and energizing its future. We're going to present our third Valley Champion Award to a Youngstown native who's transitioned his family's business to a third-generation family-owned business with offices in 6 states and more than 400 employees. I'll be interviewing all 3 of our award recipients in just a bit so we can learn a little bit more about their work and their accomplishments. But first, I would like to now introduce those sitting here at our head table. Starting from your left, Guy Coviello, President and CEO of the Regional Chamber. Rick Rajay, Vice President of North American EV Business, Foxconn EV System LLC, our Spirit of the Valley Award recipient. Jim Kinnick, Executive Director of the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments and our Spirit of the Chamber Award recipient. Tom Mosier, Chairman of the Board of MS Consultants Incorporated, our Valley Champion Award recipient. Amber Wallace-Sukanik, Executive Vice President and Chief Retail Marketing Officer at Farmers National Bank, our breakfast sponsor. And Lori Conine, Individual and Small Group Sales Director, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, our award presentation sponsor. You know, I can't emphasize enough the importance of the Chamber's longtime partnerships with the sponsors of our annual meeting. We're so fortunate that these businesses continually support the Chamber and its initiatives, and we appreciate the generosity that allows them and this team to bring you more than 100 programs and events each and every year. I'm glad to first call on Farmers National Bank. Before I do, though, I have another story. You know, as a kid, I always dreamt of being a banker. I loved banks. I was just fascinated with money. Loved seeing the vaults and all that stuff. And so I always dreamt of, you know, becoming a banker. But, you know, over time, I just kept losing interest. Note to self, keep my day job. Farmers has been at the table for several years and has actually been a member of the Chamber for nearly 50 years. They're a great friend to our organization. Please welcome for remarks Amber Wallace-Sukanik, Executive Vice President and Chief Retail and Marketing Officer.
Good morning, and thank you, Derek. On behalf of Farmers National Bank, we're just so thrilled to be here this morning and welcome all of you to the annual meeting. As Derek mentioned, we've been a longtime partner. The Chamber is just so vital to our organization as community bankers, and we're just so proud to be a part of it. And I'd just like to take a moment and just communicate to everyone that Farmers remains a really strong financial institution. We are united with all of our community bankers out there today, all of our peers. We're all such strong financial institutions here in the Valley and so important to the growth and viability of the Valley. Farmers, you may know, in the past couple years has been very busy. We've been participating in several mergers. Just in 2022 and 23, we merged with our friends over at Cortland Banks. And just recently this year with Farmers National Bank of Emlington. So these are rich legacy banks, just like Farmers, well over 100 years old. So really good partners, and we just feel we're better together and just really excited about our expansion. As for the Chamber, congratulations to all the award winners today and the Chamber on your 30 years. We're so excited to be involved, as I mentioned. We love the economic development program, everything you're doing, Chamber. Please keep up the great work. It helps all of us. And the repopulation program, we're just so thrilled with getting young people back into our community. We just have a son that came home from California to take a job here locally, and just seeing him view the valley through fresh eyes is so invigorating. We're very thrilled with that. So thank you for the programs you do, and have a great meeting, everyone.
Thank you so much to Amber, to Farmers National Bank for your continuous support of the Chamber, its mission, and events like this one today. I have to say, this event this morning is going great. Much better than the abstinence conference that I emceed last month. All we did there was wait. Man, tough crowd. You guys are killing my comedic dreams here. We're going to call on Anthem for remarks and the introduction of our award recipients in just a few moments. But first, I'd like to recognize and welcome our additional sponsors and thank them for the support that they're giving to our annual meeting. Our partner sponsors, Commercial Metal Forming and Packer Thomas. Our patron sponsors, Mercer County Community Federal Credit Union, the Platts Realty Group, Tata Steel, and Armstrong. VIP reception sponsors, Hitchhiker Manufacturing, VEC, the Grand Resort, Western Reserve Port Authority, Humtown, Akron Children's Hospital, Mahoning Valley, Warren West Development by Sapientia Ventures, Number One Cochrane, ServPro, Trumbull Industries, the Builders Association, and the Diamond Steel Construction Company. Can we please give all of our sponsors a big round of applause? I'd also like to especially I would like to recognize the board of the Regional Chamber for their support throughout the year. Their expertise and insight are incredibly valuable, and they're always ready and willing to help when called on to ensure that our valley is an ideal place to work, live, and play. I'd also especially like to thank, on behalf of the Chamber, Board Chairman Jim Gazier, Senior Executive Vice President and Corporate Development Officer at Farmers National Bank Corporation, for his leadership, guidance, and longevity in serving of the board. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Michael Schrock, Senior Vice President and Human Resource Manager at Huntington National Bank. His leadership, service, and commitment and board chairman has been second to none these past 2 years. Both Jim and Michael have been engaged with the organization in numerous ways for several years, and they're always among the first to champion initiatives that make us stronger as a region, and thank the Chamber's team for a job well done. Jim is out of town today, but Michael, can you please stand? Michael. Is Michael here? Okay, all right. Can I ask all of the Chamber's board members who are in attendance today to stand? All of our Chamber board members, let's give them a round of applause, please, for their work and efforts in championing the Chamber and our business community. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize board members who finished their terms at the close of 2022. Esther Bouchaw from the Cafaro Company, Ed Moransky from the Moransky Companies, Eric Ryan from JAC Management, Don Klein from Mercy Health, Gary Small from Premier Bank, Neil Kabak from Cohen & Company, and former YSU President Jim Tressel. We thank them for their service and dedication to the Chamber, and the Chamber's team will be dropping off gifts of appreciation to these folks in the next couple of weeks. All right, moving on to our award presentations this morning. I'd like to call on Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, Anthem has sponsored this event for the past 22 years and has also been a member of the Chamber for 52 years. We appreciate their commitment to our Valley and the continued participation in our programs. Please welcome, for remarks, followed by the presentation of awards, Lori Conine, Individual and Small Group Sales Director.
Well, good morning. I don't have any jokes, but I do need to move this microphone a little bit.
Probably a good thing.
So first of all, congratulations to the Chamber on your 30-year anniversary. What a great milestone. And thank you so much for your partnership and relationship with Anthem. I know we've been partners for over 20 years, probably over 25 years. You work with us to help our employers in the region find access to affordable health care, and that's really important work that we're doing together, so I appreciate that very much. Anthem's mission is to improve the lives and the communities, simplify healthcare, and build trust with our customers. So again, thank you for everything that you do at the Chamber to help support us and our mission to improve the health of humanity. So thank you very much. So I'll go ahead and get started. It is my distinct honor to present the Spirit of the Valley, Spirit of the Chamber, and Valley Champion Awards this morning. The first, the Spirit of the Valley, is presented to a business leader who has displayed exemplary leadership and commitment to the community, economic development, and overall progress of the Valley. In 2018, the Regional Chamber spearheaded the Drive It Home campaign, urging local, state, and federal officials to find a reuse for the once thriving General Motors Lordstown complex. Rick, Rajay, and Foxconn answered those prayers. The sprawling 6.3 million square foot manufacturing facility is bustling again, currently with hundreds of employees and soon with thousands, manufacturing various electric vehicles, including pickup trucks, tractors, and eventually cars. We talk about diversifying the economy of a region. Rick and his team have diversified the economy under one roof. They bring direct foreign investment, an infusion of young, talented engineers, and a progressive approach to attract a modern-day workforce. Rick is the Vice President of North American Operations at Foxconn. He has over 30 years of experience in automotive product development and manufacturing and 17 years of electric vehicle experience. In the past, Rick has served as North American VP of Product Development for Goshen Global Lead of Electrified Powertrain for NIO and North American Leader for LG Chem Battery Solutions. Rick, a motivated engineering executive with a strong background in vehicle integration and strategic planning, earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and master's degree in vehicle integration from Purdue University. Ladies and gentlemen, please celebrate our Spirit of the Valley Award recipient, Mr. Rick Rajay.
Yeah, I like that. Congratulations, Rick. Is there anyone you would like to thank before we jump into the Q&A?
Absolutely. First of all, my parents, my wife and my son, and my colleagues at Foxconn, Ohio. Definitely without their support, I couldn't be here.
To break the ice a little bit, tell us one thing that nobody knows about you.
Oh, wow.
Put you on the spot.
So what people do know about me, that I'm a soccer fan. And
Oh, love soccer.
People-
Soccer or football?
No, the real football. People do know that I've been happily married for 25 years. People do know that I have a son who goes to college in San Jose. I think people don't know about my addictions. And not just one, I have two addictions. The first one is I'm addicted to my family. I have to be around my family. I have to make breakfast for my family on Saturdays. And then the second addiction is even worse. I have to be always active. I have to do my exercise. So probably these two addictions, pretty much people didn't know about them.
Well, I think those are two pretty good addictions to have, absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, though. I want to learn a little bit more about who Rick Rajay is outside of the business world.
I'm a car guy.
Okay.
Ever since I was 3 years old, my dad told me that I could recognize every single brand of a car in the street. And ever since I was 7 years old, I was in the engine bay of my dad's Toyota, stealing carburetors and spark plugs and everything. I never ever saw myself working outside of automotive industry. I like to have fun at work, and my colleagues sitting at the table can definitely support that statement. 33 years of being in the business, I have never ever failed a single milestone of my life. I like to travel all over the world. I've been into 46 different countries. And Rick, sitting here, is a Canadian and American citizen.
Okay, excellent, excellent. A lot of people, I think, in this room have heard the name Foxconn, but for those that maybe have not, what is Foxconn?
Great question. How many of you guys know the company Apple? Please raise your hand. And how many of you know the company called Tesla? Please raise your hand. And how many of you people know the company Foxconn? Raise your hand. All right. How many employees do you guys think Tesla has worldwide? Any guess? 120,000. And how many employees do you think Foxconn has worldwide? 10 times the amount, 1.2 million. One of the biggest missions when I came here to introduce us as an electric car maker is the challenge that we just saw. A lot of people don't know us, don't know the background capabilities that we have worldwide. Foxconn is the biggest consumer electronics contract manufacturer. It is guaranteed when you go home today and you look at your cell phone, your tablet, your printer, your screen, your monitor, your toys, Nintendo or whatnot, they're manufactured by Foxconn. Foxconn, if it's not the biggest employer in the world, private employer in the world, probably top 3 private employer in the world. And when I joined the company as the first car guy working for our chairman, Chairman Liu, he appointed me to start the business, not limited to electric vehicles, but end-to-end from raw material to chargers, electric vehicles, motors, gearboxes, and recycling. So we are serious about this business. Aside from the consumer electronics side, obviously we acquired the plant here in Ohio. We have a greenfield facility in Thailand that is going to produce 100,000 vehicles, and soon we will be in other regions of the world.
You mentioned the plant. Talk a little bit about why Foxconn decided to purchase the former GM Lordstown plant for its electric vehicle business.
Great story. So it was 3rd week of June 2021. I was in Detroit. It was about 10:25 p.m. I got a phone call from Taiwan. And the question was simple. Rick, do you know the company called Lordstown? I said, yes. He said, then chairman wants to talk to you in 5 minutes. And I was not in a decent condition, so I needed to clean myself up and be in front of the camera. And I was deployed to come here the next morning, which was a Thursday morning. I came here, obviously, under the radar. To your question, we had a very official due diligence, which was as black or white as it can get. Workforce, supply base, raw material, access to public transportation or highways or railroad. We checked all of those boxes. But a week later, when I was in front of our chairman, I said, listen, all boxes are checked and they're all tangible. One intangible thing you need to know is the community we're getting into. I said, I've talked to a lot of local business owners. If you want me to go work there, I do see myself living there. And that was primarily the biggest factor, the biggest motivating factor for us to choose this location.
You also mentioned the words contract manufacturing. How does that make your business different from maybe the traditional automotive manufacturing that we have seen here in the Valley for decades?
Excellent question. So for those of you who are familiar with car manufacturing, if you solely focus on the labor side of building vehicles, the margins and control within the value chain is going to be very marginal. You basically, within error of 1 or 2%, you can basically be negative. The way we do contract manufacturing for consumer electronics and vehicle for our partners is that we actually increase our margin. We are in charge of the material, the logistics, the shipping, dealing with all the suppliers, taking advantage of economy of scale that we have worldwide with our suppliers. We do a lot of cash flow for our partners. Many of our partners are startup. They appreciate the horsepower that we bring in. And at the end of the day, we create win-win for ourselves and our partners.
Well, we've reported a lot in the news about the different vehicles that Foxconn is talking about and has plans for, and we're certainly excited about the future. Last question, what is needed in the community to support potential growth for Foxconn?
Before we talk about future, I'd like to talk about past and present. We have seen nothing but support from the community. Currently, we're here to celebrate, obviously, the 30th anniversary of Warren Regional Chamber, and congratulations to them. This gathering is another testament that community is behind us. Now, moving forward, what we expect from the community is to continue the momentum. We don't know what we need. We just know that we will need the support. The specifics, once we get there, we'll talk to you.
Well, it's certainly exciting, and you know, we've heard the term Voltage Valley thrown around a lot, and I know Foxconn plans to be a big part of that for many, many years to come. Rick Rajay, our Spirit of the Valley Award recipient, thank you so much.
So Rick, thank you again, and congratulations on all your hard work, efforts, and success, and all that Foxconn has contributed to our region. That was an awesome story. Thank you. The Spirit of the Chamber Award is given for exceptional dedication, commitment, and accomplishments on behalf of the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber. The collaboration taking place between the Regional Chamber and the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments, the organization that's responsible for a variety of federal, state, and local planning and project implementation initiatives, is probably stronger now than at any time in the history of the two organizations, and the Valley's economy is better as a result. Because of Jim Kinnick's leadership as executive director at Eastgate, the Chamber has the strong partner necessary to launch Mahoning Valley Logistics Council, an equity-based site readiness program. The two organizations have been able to rally others around a joint strategic plan to grow the economy and a valley-wide utility study so the community can be more business-friendly. And because of this strong partnership, the Valley will have an Office of Repopulation and a comprehensive housing study to support the future workforce. Jim is passionate about our community and serves on the board of directors at Youngstown Cityscape and Oak Hill Collaborative. He is an active member of Mahoning Valley Logistics Council, Mahoning Valley Partners, and Grow Mahoning Valley. And he serves on the Executive Directors Council for the National Association of Regional Councils and is vice president of the Ohio Association of Regional Councils. Before coming to Eastgate, he held the position of the District 4 Planning and Engineering Administrator for the Ohio Department of Transportation. He has over 37 years of engineering experience in design and transportation planning, received his Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from Youngstown State University, and is a registered professional engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulate our 2023 Spirit of the Chamber Award recipient, Mr. Jim Kinnick.
All right, time to put you in the hot seat, Jim.
Sure.
Anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to start by thanking the entire staff at Eastgate. Some of them are here today. It really is a team approach on everything we do for our region. And we're small. We're only 16 of us, and we go 10 different directions. But the enthusiasm from that group and the drive to make the community better is really refreshing, and it's why we're successful.
Well, tell us something that nobody knows about you.
I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the Chamber and Guy Coviello for his leadership. This is a great event, and you see this many people show up. This is what we need, is this community support, and certainly the business community support. And this is a great event, and under Guy's leadership, we have a close, strong relationship with the Chamber, and that partnership is continuing to drive this valley.
All right, what do we not know about you? Who is Jim Kinnick?
Well, I think that, I got to say, everybody thinks I'm all serious all the time, and I'm not. I like to have fun, and I'm an avid roller coaster rider. Me and my daughter, we've been to several parks in several states, and we just love to do that. We plan trips all the time. We're heading down to South Carolina this year to do another trip for riding roller coasters.
Oh.
But
What's your favorite park?
I still like Kings Island. I still think riding the Beast in Kings Island in Cincinnati is still my favorite. But I've been to probably 15, 20 parks riding roller coasters.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What else do you like to do outside of your business and work? What are some other hobbies and things?
No, I will say that I'm a weekend warrior on home repairs. I love to remodel. I love to build things. I think that the years wear me down on that, so I don't do it as much. But I used to flip houses, and I do all the work myself. I pride myself in that. So I've been loaned out to a lot of my friends on helping them with their projects, but I enjoy it, and I still dabble with it. Now I got a son and a daughter, both that need help, so I'm doing their projects now.
Okay, I'm going to get your number, and I'm going to give you a call. All right. Recognizing that you had a 30-year career as an engineer and administrator at ODOT, talk to us about how your role as executive director at Eastgate differs.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that at ODOT, you're focused on building highways, bridges, improving roads. You don't dive deep into the communities. I've lived here all my life. Grew up on the west side of Youngstown. I'm now in Austintown. We raised our kids here. I just wasn't paying attention, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I wasn't. But in the role at Eastgate, you dive into communities. You dive into how we can help cities, villages, townships, our counties, and the ability to turn around and make a difference, helping to grow the community and helping to rebound our community has been very gratifying. We love looking for projects. I tell everybody I'm still an old engineer. If you give me a project, we're going to deliver it. We're not going to talk about it. The joke would be that, I'm an engineer that runs a planning organization. Well, there's a couple of people in the room that understand planners sit on this side of the room and engineers sit on this side. But we've figured out how to mesh that together and deliver projects, and that's very gratifying for me.
Eastgate has taken on a lot of different projects over the years. Is there one in particular that you're most proud of?
I think that the dams in the Mahoning River really resonate to a project that we take a lot of pride in. Most people know that the dams are put in the river to produce the steel for the mills. Now we have to get them out because the toxins that were trapped behind it. Get the dams out of the river, we return it to its free-flowing state, and then take advantage of the river in your town. It's part of economic development. It really is quality of life. It's growth for communities along the river. We're focusing on that. But when I first got at Eastgate in the first couple of years, somebody said you'll never get there. $90 million, 9 years it'll take, and we're very excited that we've kind of got that cost down to $30 million. 2 out, 4 to go this year, and 1 next year, and 1 the following year, and we'll be done. And it's very important to establish that river, which will help all the communities along the river grow. So a focus on economic development is important.
With our television station right there in downtown Youngstown, one of the big projects obviously around us is that Smart 2 network redevelopment there. That's coming to a close, I think, pretty soon, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully right. It is.
What kind of an impact is that project going to have on the city of Youngstown overall?
Well, it's very positive. When we went for that money, partnering with the city, Chamber, Port Authority, trying to get those federal dollars to our area, if we're going to revitalize the area, you have to start in your tight urban cores. Downtown Youngstown, get those streets fixed, improve the connectivity to the university, improve the connectivity to Mercy Health, and then we grow it from there. Project is taking a little bit of time, but I tell everybody Orange Barrels are progress, so I don't mind them. But that's investment. Once we can get those finished, we're now looking at the corridors that lead out of the city, and we're going to grow from that urbanized area out. We're looking at Belmont, we're looking at Market Street, Mahoning Avenue, 422. So that focus is how we started the project. We got the funding, and now it makes it easier to attract additional funding as we move out the corridors and really grow the region.
And that's so exciting to see the growth that we are seeing. And, you know, with all that excitement focused on business and industry growth, share some initiatives that Eastgate is currently working on and what you're looking at towards the future.
Well, yeah, great question. I talk all the time. I love people who want to hear my crazy ideas. We love to throw things at a wall and see what sticks. And I think what's important is we're not afraid to swing and miss. Right. That's how you get to be more successful. We're really focusing now, when you hear the development that Rick talked about with Foxconn, the supply companies, Altium, the local businesses we have, our role is on workforce and really having those workers. So we started an initiative just 2 weeks ago. We've been talking about it for a little bit, trying to create an office of repopulation. I didn't even say repopulation 6 months ago. I never used the word. Now I use it every hour when I talk in a day. But we have money. We're studying that initiative we call it our 3R initiative, where we want to retain the young people. We want to return people, and I was glad to hear somebody move back to the area. I have to say, this is near and dear to my heart. I'm leaving after this to go to Charlotte because my daughter lives in Charlotte and my son's in Columbus. So I'm trying to fix the problem that started that's in my own house. So, but the effort would be to retain the young people, return the young people, then receive immigrants and refugees. When you just look at the city of Youngstown, it was 160 people. 160,000 people 50 years ago. We're at 60,000 now. You know, we can't take that decline. I think we lose. The number is 5 people a day. So we want to repopulate the area. We need to build up the workforce. The office we hope to have open by the end of the year. We were fortunate to get state money attracted to create that. We have a consulting team with immigration attorneys on staff. We're following the lead of what Global Cleveland did, and we want to grow the population back in our area.
Well, it's been incredible to see how the Mahoning Valley has changed over the last 15, 20 years. Where do you see the valley going? What is it going to look like in the next 20 years?
That's a great question. I'd like to be like we were 50 years ago when the steel mills were producing. We had people, we were vibrant. And I know we're going to get there. Part of our repopulation effort is also looking at a housing strategy. We need to get more housing in our area. We have a lot of investors that approached us, but it's important that we assess what we have and develop a strategy if we're going to be successful on building housing for our communities. I think that we can get to where we need to be in the next 5 to 10 years with those additional jobs, bringing people back and making the area more vibrant. I like to say, you know, we say it all the time at Eastgate, and I say it a lot at some of the meetings I get an opportunity to talk. You know, we don't look there's a reason the rearview mirror in your car is small. We don't want to look backwards anymore. The windshield's wide open, and we're looking forward, and we're really, we don't talk about the steel mills. Those days are long past. We're looking forward and going to be successful with companies like Foxconn and the initiatives that we're growing with just our local businesses as we continue to move forward.
Well, that's a great point, and we're going to end on that one. Give it up for our Spirit of the Chamber Award recipient, Jim Kinnick. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much, Jim, for working so hard on behalf of all the people who work and live in our community and helping to ensure our valley continues to grow. Thank you again. Finally, it is an honor to present the Chamber's 3rd Valley Champion Award, created in 2020 to honor Youngstown, Warren area natives who have gone on to achieve greatness nationally and/or internationally and made our valley proud. Our Our recipient was instrumental in transitioning MS Consultants to the business his father, Thomas F. Mosier, founded in 1963 in Youngstown, to a third-generation family-owned business registered in 48 states with 10 offices in 6 states. The business, which is celebrating its 60th anniversary, is an award-winning engineering, architecture, planning, and environmental consulting firm annually ranked within ENR's top 500 design firms. Our recipient, Thomas E. Mosier, started working at MS in his youth. After earning his Bachelor of Science in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Cincinnati and a Master's of Science in Engineering from Youngstown State University, Tom brought federal agency experience to MS after working 3 years for the U.S. EPA. As a young engineer demonstrating engineering and management acumen, Tom founded the Environmental and Municipal Services Division at MS. Moving to Columbus in the 80s, he managed many strategic projects across the state of Ohio. As president and CEO from 1994 to 2001, Tom maintained this dedication to serving the client and ensuring the reputation for supplying quality design, planning, and management solutions. Transitioning the company with more than 400 employees today to its third generation as chairman of the board, Tom maintains his 45-year dedication to MS staff, clients, and community. He has been a board member and active in the Central Ohio Diabetes Association, particularly with Camp Hamwa for kids with type 1 diabetes, and serves as an industry advisory board member for the civil engineering programs at OSU and YSU. In December 2022, Tom was named to the American Council of Engineering Companies National College of Fellows. MS has been a strong chamber partner too, and together they are currently mapping and assembling sites for commercial and industrial development across the valley. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 2023 Valley Champion Award, Mr. Thomas E. Mosier.
All right, congratulations, Tom.
Thank you, thank you.
Let's put you in the hot seat. Anyone you'd like to thank before we begin?
Well, I'd like to thank the Chamber and Guy Cavelli. This is a marvelous award. I would also like to thank, there's many past clients in the room that MS has worked for or haven't worked for. I want to thank you for your belief in our values and what we try to do for the communities that we work for. I'd like to thank our partners. You know, it's our 60-year anniversary that was mentioned, and many of the partners in this room, Farmers Bank, Packard Thomas, used to be Reality, Gampetro, and Scott, have been partners with us for a long time. I'm on the board of AMI, Jack Scott. Jack was the past president of Parsons Engineering Corporation. Jack's given back trying to get young people excited about advanced manufacturing and STEM education so we can develop that workforce Jim was talking about. So thank you, Jack. I'd like to thank all my associates at MS Consultants. If they want to stand, please, they do a wonderful job. It's all about people, so there's a number of them here. Thank you for all that you do. I want to thank all the workers here today. Thank you, the event last night. Thank you, Ron Klingel, and the workers here for all your efforts. It's a wonderful event. Thank you.
Tell us a bit about yourself outside of career and business experiences. Who is Tom Mosier?
I wish I knew, but it's an evolving process. But I can tell you some things you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I carry around an insulin pump. When I was 28 years old, just quit working for some reason, who knows why, but I think the lesson there is even if you have a handicap or disability, doesn't mean you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish in life. So never give up.
Absolutely.
I'm a member of the Golf Heritage Society. It's a worldwide organization that believes in the history of golf, and that kind of really, I like golf and I like everything about golf, so that really motivates me, and I like engineering. I was involved with the American Council of Engineering Companies. I was the national director, which is kind of an interesting story. I had 7 states, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio. And I remember at the first meeting, and they said, "What's an Ohio guy know about Louisiana?" And I was, okay, thanks for anyway, so that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, MS Consultants is very proud of its past, obviously. What would you attribute to your 60-year success as a family-owned business?
Well, I think, well, we have a mission statement, talented people, successful solutions. So I think it all starts with people, and I think it starts with my father. He taught me a lesson real early, and that lesson was treat your clients great and treat your associates and people you work with better. And that was a hard lesson for me. So I was real good on the first side, but not maybe the best in my younger career on the second side. So that was a great lesson. So I think through the years, you evolve, and Foxconn can tell us a lot more about that. You start with, in 1963, we started with 3 people, and then as you move through the process of going from, $1 million company to now we're over a $60 million company, it's a process, but it all starts with people.
Right. Yeah, we're only as good as the people we're surrounded by, right?
Exactly.
Let's talk about the future a little bit for MS Consultants. What are you optimistic about for MS Consultants over the next 60 years and as the industry as a whole?
Well, I think with MS, we have like 40 different technical areas, so we aligned our business units. So today, I don't know if you're all aware what MS is into or not into, but we align those groups into transportation, so that consists of bridges, traffic, environmental NEPA studies, roadway design, and then we do environmental work, water, wastewater, water resources across the U.S. We have an energy group, so we're doing substations, and we're working on solar and regeneration of alternative fuels through our energy group. We have a grants and funding group that assists. With the new infrastructure bill, there's many programs. Some are entitled and some are not, so you have to compete. So through our grant and funding, we work with our clients to assist in funding to make these solutions very value added to the community. So with that, in that alignment, I think what also I'm very optimistic about, and one thing that COVID has taught us, you can do things in a different way. So our folks here, for example, in the Mahoning Valley, are working on projects all across the country. So we're not just limited through technology and communication and those type of skills that are just governed by where you're physically located. So I think that's really served us in our growth and what we can do today.
You were founded in the Mahoning Valley. So why, as the business has expanded over the years, have you remained committed to this valley?
Well, I hope I don't tear up on this one, but it starts back when my brother and I went to St. Charles in Boardman. So when I was 8 and 12 years old, and this probably in the late 60s, early 70s, we would ride the bus downtown from Boardman to the YMCA to meet my dad. So he'd be working out and he'd drive us home. And then jump forward about 15 or 20 years, you'd drive that same drive down Market Street and you would just get mad. So I'd say to myself, I'm going to play 10,000 people here. I'm going to turn this around. Sorry. It just made me mad. We can do better. Anyway, so we stay committed because, well, it's a beautiful place, because of family, because of all those types of things, and so that's where our roots are.
What advice would you give to a young entrepreneur right now, or someone starting a small business that wants to grow, wants to expand, kind of like what MS Consultants did?
It's never been a better time. If you want to work hard, work smart. It's kind of funny, as you get older, I wish I knew what I knew then. There are so many opportunities with technology, with problems that need solved, that can be business and created. I would say, stay the course, get an education. Nothing happens without an education. So if you don't have an education, it makes it very much harder for you. So I would say stay with it. Even those days will be hard, and you don't think there's an end to it. But I think that and then open your mind to solutions. Do not be closed-minded. I think we get closed-minded too much anymore because of politics or whatever, but do not be closed-minded.
Right, I think a lot of people tend to complain, but yeah, come up with that solution to fix the problem. I think that's a big part of it.
Exactly.
Final question, I believe you moved to Columbus, right?
Yes.
All right, what do you miss most about the Valley?
Well, there's so much to miss. I think that it's beautiful here. I miss two things the most: Mill Creek Park, and I miss the pierogies from the Holy Trinity Church on Rayan Avenue.
Yeah. There's some stuff you just can't get anywhere else, isn't there?
No, you can't get pierogies like the Holy Trinity Church. No way, no.
Tom Mosier, our Valley Champion Award recipient. Thank you very much, sir. Let's give him a round of applause. I want to thank all of our award recipients. It's truly wonderful to hear people like Tom, Rick, and Jim as they talk about their past, but more importantly, they also talk about the future. Electric vehicles, they're not going away. They're not going anywhere, and it's going to be exciting to see what Rick and Foxconn and what their plans are for electric vehicle manufacturing. I loved hearing what Jim said about Eastgate and the projects they have moving forward, and I love that point about not looking in the rear view and moving forward, and we have so many great people in this valley that are truly moving forward. And then you heard Tom, how emotional he got about why he stays committed to this valley, and that's what we need. We need people like Tom, and there are so many of you in this room, I know, and so really look forward to seeing what we have here, because I know there are a lot of great people that love this place and want to see a bright future. Can we please give all of our award recipients one more round of applause? They truly make this valley a great place to work, play, and live. Finally this morning, we're glad to round out our program with an update and an overview from the leader of the Regional Chamber as the organization turns 30 this year. Guy Coviello, as you make your way to the podium, ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screens for a video that you may have seen late last year, but is still relevant for the Chamber today as it celebrates recent accomplishments and what's next.
"2022 has been a fantastic and exciting year for the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber and its members, and there's so much more to come. We have experienced unprecedented growth from 2,300 members to 2,900 members in less than 2 years. This gives us a much more powerful voice influencing public policy so that the entire valley can be more prosperous. With our partners, we are working to expand workforce programs addressing our members' #1 challenge. Next, we will help launch a repopulation effort to increase the pool of people available for our schools, training centers, and employers.
We again ranked near the top in the state by securing more than $1 billion of economic investment, creating thousands of new jobs, and retaining thousands more. Next, we will champion the blueprint for Ohio's economic future to make our state and our valley the #1 place in the nation to start and operate a business.
We help local communities and nonprofits secure millions of dollars in state and federal funding while supporting key legislation such as the CHIPS Act that is positioning the valley to attract more manufacturers. Next, we will hold local government roundtables to improve regional collaboration so we're more competitive at securing resources.
We have set event attendance records that increased business-to-business networking and added expense reduction programs to increase profit for our members. Next, we will have the Magnet East Innovation Room and the Window World Think Tank available for our members to hold meetings free of charge.
We have created a site readiness program so that the Valley can better compete for a generational opportunity to grow the economy. Next, we will produce action plans to bring our best sites to job-creating shovel readiness. And we kicked off a series of thought-provoking lunch and learn discussions, including a nonprofit roundtable and DE&I matchmaker event. Next, we will create the Center for Nonprofit Excellence and introduce an even larger matchmaker event to help our minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses grow.
The Regional Chamber Foundation provided funding for these important economic development initiatives, while our Trumbull County foundations pumped more than $250,000 of support for economic and quality of life projects. Next, we'll relaunch Leadership Mahoning Valley.
We have made many improvements to our financial technology, processes, and reporting. This allows the Regional Chamber to be a more efficient steward of our members' dollars by leaving more time to focus on our business community. Next, we will move to automate renewals and other systems to continue modernizing and improving the member experience.
Our status as the third largest metro chamber in the state of Ohio is proof that we are a leader in the industry. I am proud to be running the day-to-day operations of such an influential organization and working with a talented team to represent the thousands of businesses and the 150,000 workers they employ right here in the Youngstown-Warren region.
So, what's next?
Well, if you're not excited about what's next, I think the urns still have some coffee. You can get some caffeine. But before putting some context to what's next, I have to take care of one not so small what's now item. We have representatives of Team NEO here. I'd like the two of you to stand. And while you're standing, I'd like the Regional Chamber's Economic Development staff to please stand. When Team NEO which is our economic development partner, and the chamber were built, the builders had no way of knowing we would one day see the level of economic activity that we see today. So they didn't build enough capacity. Yet somehow, everyone that we just had stand and others who are not with us have not buckled under the strain. So I want to thank you all for that. Jim Kinnick, if you wouldn't mind standing. And Anthony Trevina, if he's still, yep. Recognizing the economic opportunities, the Western Reserve Port Authority, under the leadership of Anthony, the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments, under the leadership of Jim Kinnick, and a spirit of collaboration rarely seen, have integrated three very young, very talented individuals, Krista Beniston, Mark Ragazine, Nick Cretion, into the economic development ecosystem so that we can better compete for companies, jobs, and talent. For that, I want to thank you, gentlemen. So now what's next? We believe that by the end of this decade, we will be among the world's leaders in emerging industries like vehicle electrification and e-mobility supply chain, as well as petrochemical and shale development. What we heard this morning from Rick Rajay strengthens that belief. We believe that by the end of this decade, we will no longer have to market to people that we have jobs. We will instead market to companies that we have talent. What we heard this morning from Jim Kinnick strengthens that belief. We believe by the end of this decade, we will have developed a world-class inventory of sites that are shovel-ready for commercial and industrial development. What we heard this morning from Tom Mosier strengthens that belief. To accomplish this, we need strong leaders and engaged partners from the private, public, and philanthropic sectors. So one item next on our agenda is the relaunch of Leadership Mahoning Valley, redesigned to produce the next generation of leaders, high-achieving individuals who will agree to not only complete class projects every year, but who will commit to a lifelong project of making our community a better place. Another item next on our agenda is the creation of the Center for Nonprofit Excellence to strengthen our many vital institutional organizations, to reinvigorate them with the graduates of Leadership Mahoning Valley, to equip them to excel at their important missions that make our community better. What we can accomplish by the end of this decade cannot fall on the shoulders of a single leader, a single organization, a single board of directors. What we can accomplish can only be achieved as a team. So up next is unveiling the Joint Strategic Plan, commissioned by the Regional Chamber, the Port Authority, Eastgate, the Youngstown Foundation, and Valley Partners. It's a strategic plan not just for our 5 organizations, but for the dozens, perhaps hundreds, of public, private, and nonprofit organizations throughout the Mahoning Valley who are committed to economic prosperity. It's a plan to take us from a loose collection of initiatives to a powerful partnership united behind the notion that the Valley has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow its economy. Consider this: the $1.2 trillion Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, plus the $370 billion Inflation Reduction Act, plus the $53 billion CHIPS Act, equals more than $1.6 trillion injected into the nation's economy starting in just a couple months. Moody's Analytics expects the creation of 360,000 new jobs just from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act alone by the end of this year, and 660,000 new jobs from that single piece of legislation by year-end 2025. So now consider this: the number of projects leads that our Economic Development Department has received since 2020 has increased by about 20% each year. The number of leads for what we call mega projects, and Foxconn is a mega project. The number of leads for mega projects that we responded to in just the first 3 months of this year matched the number of mega project leads we have received in the previous 3 years combined. The Mahoning Valley is on site selectors' radar. Next, our population will grow, reversing many decades of decline. Next, all of our residents will have opportunities to work, to earn family-sustaining wages, to thrive. We will close equity gaps in income, educational attainment, and health outcomes. We will be one of the most sought-after locations to start and operate a business. We will outperform our peers in employment, per capita income, and labor participation. We will provide our companies with a talented and diverse workforce. Next, Tom Mosier will one day come to tears, not out of anger, but out of happiness. And next, you all have to go to work. Thank you for spending time with us this morning.